Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. It has been a long day, but it's not even noon yet, which is insane. Oh my gosh. But this morning I did manage to squeeze in a movie, and I'm really excited to talk about it. So this is a Steve Carell movie, as promised, on every Thursday. And it's been a while since we actually technically watched one, because last week we did Minions, which is technically not a Steve Carell movie. I'm not including it on any lists or anything. I just watched it because I knew that I was going to be watching Despicable Me 3 soon. I believe I'm watching that in March. It is in March. So I just wanted to make sure that I had that out of the way before we moved on. But now we are back to movies that actually have Steve Carell in it, and it isn't just a cameo. So today, I'm really excited to talk about Freeheld. Freeheld was released in 2015. It was written by Ron Nyswaner and directed by Peter Sollett. So, for those of you who don't know how to watch Freeheld, it is on Peacock for free. The cool thing about Peacock that I think is interesting is they have a free service where you can watch things for free. Like, I believe they even had the first two seasons of The Office on there for free, which is insane. So definitely check that out if you want. There is ads, but not many. It's not nearly as bad as Pluto TV. Never use Pluto TV. Peacock, it had like ads in the beginning every now and then, but it wasn't bad, and it was always in strategic moments that made sense instead of like just randomly dispersed. It did not negatively influence my viewing capacity at all. So I do recommend using that platform if you don't want to rent it or you don't have to stream it anywhere else if you need. It is free and it's nice. In terms of the movie itself, in case you don't know about it, essentially everyone knows about lesbian and gay rights, of course LGBTQ rights, and the right to get married. But people often, particularly my age, don't recognize this is a relatively new concept. Even back before 2013, it wasn't a thing. In 2013, it wasn't a thing. I think 2015 was when they finally changed the law, something like that, so that people could get married. But this is about a situation where we have Laurel and Stacy, and they meet each other and they fall in love. And essentially what happens is Laurel gets cancer, and then they are a partnership. They are a legal partnership. They can't get married, but they can be domestic partners. And Laurel is a cop, so she gets a pension. So she's arguing that her pension should go to Stacy when she dies, because she will die of cancer. And basically the government's like, no, because it's not county law. There is state law that says that state employees can give their pension to other domestic partners, but county employees have the option to, and they're choosing not to. So it's really about this fight for rights between these two groups of people, and it's the right for freedom. It's a fight for equality, and it's a really good, strong movie. In terms of structure, the beginning was rough, and I think while watching the movie I knew it was rough, but then after watching the movie I understand why it happened and why it had to be so. So they rush this whole relationship thing, right? Because it's only an hour and 45 minutes long, something like that. It's relatively short in comparison to other movies that I've watched recently. And what's interesting to me particularly about the beginning of this movie is that they rush it so fast. It's like they literally meet in like the first 10 minutes and they're already dating in the first 10 minutes. And while at first I thought, wow, that's really fast, I didn't really like how that happened, I also understand that, we are seeing this in a perspective that's different than others, right? Like, she gets cancer and then dies in about an hour and a half. Normally that can take weeks. And so it's interesting that we were able to follow along with this relationship pattern quite easily, in my opinion. I didn't really have an issue with it being so quick. I originally did. Now I don't, because the whole point is not... It defeats the purpose. All right, so the point of the movie is not about relationship. It is about equality. They scream that at you, like, quite literally in the movie, that it's about equality. So it's not about them falling in love. It's about the fact that they are in love, but they can't share that with the world. And we get to see that a lot where, Laurel, doesn't want to share the fact that she's a lesbian to her cop mates because they're afraid that she'll take away her cophood and stuff like that, which is a thing that would happen in these days. It can't happen anymore. That's illegal. You can't discriminate based on gender or your expressive gender. I don't really know what it's called. But it's insane to me that was a thing, right? That was an actual problem. It still probably is a problem in some areas, but I live in New York, so it's like not really a huge thing anymore. I mean, obviously, it's horrible what happened, and of course, I'm not going to get political here. I'm moving on. But I genuinely enjoyed this movie, mainly because it taught, it taught how it happened. It taught of these things, and if you watch this movie, you can't help but feel bad for this lesbian couple. You're like, wow, they can't get married. That's awful. And it's designed to make you realize that what's the point of not having them get married? Why does it matter if the pension goes to her? If he was married to another person, the pension goes to them anyway. So why not dish out the money to them? It's not fair. Exactly. So a really, really solid structure of the film. I really enjoyed how fast it was. It was really fast paced. If you like fast paced movies, this is definitely one for you. I like medium paced movies, I think. I used to think I liked fast paced movies, and I still do. This one's really good, but I hate long paced movies in general, except for like The Devil All the Time. That one's kind of short, like long based, but I really enjoyed it. But this movie is really fast and really interesting and really fun, and I would recommend it. But first, let's talk about the acting, and then I'll move on to the rating. First, we have Juliette Moore as Laurel Hester. So, Laurel Hester is a cop, and she's lesbian, but she's closeted until she meets somebody named Stacy and falls in love, and then she slowly becomes out in the open and out of the closet. And it's nice to see this transition between, like, not telling people and then telling everybody. But I think Juliette Moore did a fantastic portrayal because it's hard to portray cancer. I mean, you've seen Breaking Bad, probably. I mean, if you haven't, you really should. It's on Netflix. It's so good. But, like, Bryan Cranston is the person to look to when you're portraying cancer. And she played it differently, She was able to be quiet about it and, like, kind of subdued and, like, always in the chair. And, like, it was interesting to see the progression, too. The makeup in this is really solid. They were able to make her look flushed, and they were able to make her hair look really thin. It was really interesting how they did that. I'm assuming it was wigs and bald caps, but I really did enjoy Juliette Moore in this. I think overall it was a really good performance, maybe even award worthy, but I don't think it was as good as the next person, Elliot Page, as Stacy Andre. It's Andre. There's an N there. I have bad handwriting. So Elliot Page, for those of you who don't know, was listed as Ellen Page in this because at the time she considered herself a female. But during the filming of this, she came out as lesbian, and then literally like a couple months ago, she came out as transgender. So now he is a he. So I will be addressing Elliot Page as a he. But for the purposes of this film, he is a she. So he did a really good job in this movie because he was able to show, right, that the love is unconditional, right? Like we see this part where, he's a lot younger than Laurel is, right? Stacy's a lot younger than Laurel is, but we were able to accept the fact that they were in love and that it didn't matter. And the portrayal of this is insane. I mean, we just see his face, and he's so heartbroken the whole movie. And just like the little glimmers of hope that we get, like, couldn't have chosen a better person. I think I think he should have gotten an award for this for sure. This is a really good performance. I do want to watch more Elliot Page movies, and I'm sure I will in the future. Michael Shannon as Dane Wells. For those of you who have seen me review Michael Shannon, I've mentioned I like him a lot, particularly like in Man of Steel. He was the best part of Man of Steel. I really enjoyed Michael Shannon, and I really liked him in this as well. I hope I get to see more Michael Shannon in the future because he's really good. It's just something about him, like looking at him, like he looks really good. Like I'm attracted to watching him. I'm not saying I'm attracted to him because I'm not, but like I'm attracted to watching him. Like when he's on screen, I'm like, whoa, that's Michael Shannon. I gotta watch. And like it's interesting. I don't really get it. But he demands your attention on the screen, and he's very good at portraying characters like this where he can change his mind, Like in the beginning, he's against gay rights, and then towards the end, he's very much for gay rights. And it is really fun to see that transition, and I think he did particularly a really good job. And now the reason why I got to watch this movie is Steve Carell as Stephen Goldstein. Stephen Goldstein is a homosexual Jewish priest or something like that. Insane. But he is very homosexual in the movie, and he portrays that really fun because he doesn't go all out like some gay people do. He decided to choose it. He made it more like he's a reserved gay, where he will talk like he's gay, but also not act particularly the way that stereotypical gays would typically act. Words are hard, but we can obviously get the point across that he's gay, but he doesn't have to act flamboyant. That's the word. I think his portrayal of this is really good, and it shows maturity in his roles. He can be funny, because he was funny in this movie, without it being a funny movie, and without necessarily attracting attention comedic-wise. He was able to stick to the negative and sad tone while still landing a couple jokes. So the performance is really solid, and I really, really enjoyed him in this. And I'm really excited to watch him next week in The Big Short. I haven't seen it yet. I'm very excited. But that's Freeheld in a nutshell. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend watching it. It is free on Peacock, so if you guys want to watch it, it is free on there. And I'm going to go ahead and give this movie an A+. That's the first A+ in a while for Steve Carell. I mean, I don't think I gave an A+ to his films, and it's got to be a while, probably. Actually, the way back, I probably gave an A+. That's probably true. Really, really good movie. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys take your time out of your day to watch it. It is relatively short. It's only about an hour and a half, hour 45, so it's not too bad. But that's going to do it for me today. I got to go film another video, but stay tuned for later this week. Let's see, tomorrow we have Watchmen, so that's really exciting. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that. As always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.